So I have another set of exercises here, and so I don't know. Did I give you guys these before? Lesson 2 or exercise 2?
No.
I don't think I did. Okay, so mainly today, so this is just the second set. I never gave it out, but it just goes through like the more complicated things and has the same melody as the first lesson sheet, but then or the same words as the first lesson sheet for the practice, but it just gets a little more complicated. And then the challenge exercises, using the symbols that you now know. So that's just there to do that. So we can look at some of that if we'd like. What I'd like to do is go to um, the manual, the one that's in Greek, and we'll go through some more things. So we'll go towards the end. Let's see. Let's go. I'll go back over rhythm, and then I'll start introducing some other things about rhythm. Okay, so let's look at maybe 63 and 64. Do you want me to talk about rhythm at all, or do you guys remember all these rhythmic symbols?
Let's just jump right in.
Hello.
Just in time. We're getting started.
Just getting started. So here's a new thing. And did they close the door over there for on the way down? I don't want to disturb them in their meeting.
They're upstairs and
Yeah.
they're kind of far away.
Okay. Yeah. Hopefully we don't sing that loud. Okay. So 63. If you have any questions, let me know on the rhythm. Otherwise, we'll just get right into it. So let's do this on Nipavu. And this again is 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 1, 2. 1, 2, and 1, 2. So Ni 63. 1, 2, 1. Ni pa 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 vu 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 ga 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 the ke the ga the ga vu ga vu pa vu pa ni. All right, 64. I don't know. Doris, is that up? Are you not pleased with that? Rhythm or
I got
Nipavu?
the potty one though.
Oh yeah. And that's where I do writing them in there can sometimes be helpful, even if you think initially it's not, it's not going to be helpful. So 64. Let's do it on la. La 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 Nice. All right. So now I'd like to introduce some more things. So does that make sense? Rhythmically. So the next thing that it says here is where you have a gorgon, that rhythmic symbol, on top of combo symbols or other symbols that are a little more complicated. So, if I have this guy, what does he mean?
Up.
Slurred, up one slurred.
So up one, yeah, it's all connected. So if this is la, this is la, right? Okay. So and then we have this guy, which means what?
Slur
from the bottom.
Yeah.
Up one.
Up one.
Stressed.
And so then this has to be la from a previous note and then, connected to it. Because you can't have a note to begin this, or a syllable to begin this combo. So let's say, it's la all the way across. So this is good. So now if I do this, now this has a rhythm symbol. Okay, and if I do this down here, now it has a rhythm symbol. I have two symbols. On which one does it go? That's my question. So, and I'll try and explain my rationale behind it and why it only goes a certain way. So these two initially, they don't seem very different until you start using words, but especially when you start using rhythm, they make a big difference because this gorgon, he always goes on your kendimata in these symbol combos. Okay, and you can put them on top or the bottom. So for right now, I'll put them on the bottom. So this changes how this works because in this case, this is 1/2 and this is 1/2. In this case, this is 1 and this one's 1/2 and the previous one is 1/2, wherever that happens to be. So now this is la. This one is from the previous one. Let's say if we have this. La, la. This one is la. So it changes our rhythmic structure because this one now is our 1/2, 1/2, 1. 1, 1/2, 1/2. So everyone initially see how that works, and I'll try and describe why it has to be that way. So kendimata is your unstressed syllable, your unstressed symbol. And so because it is unstressed, it always has to be on some sort of unstressed beat. So if I go 1, 2, 1, 2, the music is oftentimes 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. 1 is your strong beat. So if I were to write, this is good because it's 1, 2. So this is on our upbeat, essentially, your unstressed beat. If I have 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and now we have a different situation. I'm going to erase this real quickly. And then essentially when you have 1 and 2 and this is strong, this is your strongest beat. Now 2 is normal. Essentially it's not terribly strong, but it's not weak because your weak beats are these guys. This is weak and this is weak. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and. So this is stronger than these guys. So now kendimata is still your unstressed syllable. So whenever you have your gorgon on top of a kendimata, it makes it the second part of that combo. So this is 1 end. So your kendimata is on the end. It's on the weak part of that beat. The same part when you have this, if I had the gorgon sitting on the oligon instead, this would actually be on a strong beat, which is not okay. It's not acceptable. So this one, again, goes to your kendimata because we always want kendimata to be weak. And so it always gets the end of this combination. So therefore, in order for that to work under all circumstances, kendimata always gets it. So, I don't know if that makes sense to people or helps you remember kendimata always
Probably
gets
makes more
the
sense
gorgon.
in the music when you see what it's doing.
Yeah.
Easier.
I don't do well on the theory end of things. I just have
this
to
is kind
practice
of like
these
the
things
theory
until
end
they
of
become
things.
second nature.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So, but if you think back and you're like, oh man, I wonder why, that's kind of my rationale behind it.
I don't know
But-
how many people actually
so that's that. So that's one thing.
Interesting it.
So we'll sing those in a minute, but we need to learn something else before that.
Before you do that,
Yep.
the thing you just erased.
Yep.
What was it again? You said it was la la ah.
Okay, so there's two different things. Okay, so this is one N, so half half. La la.
So that gorgon does not shorten the first la on the E song.
Right.
Okay.
So, but then if we have this, so again it's now la all the way through. So this is, instead of la la, this is la.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So 1 and 2, 1, 2 and.
Okay. That makes sense.
So if I were to
Without
do.
the gorgon, it would be la la.
So it'd be la la, as opposed to la. If you didn't have the gorgon.
Okay.
Yep. But because the gorgon's there, and if I add, let's say, another oligon afterwards, this is la la la. This one is la la.
So they're putting the gorgon on top of the Eson even though it's not. Okay, I see.
You're looking ahead to 66 because that's what I'm looking at.
So
Let's jump right in and
I
practice.
was under
Okay.
the impression that the gorgon went with
where
the
did you-
Yeah, 66 is where we're gonna go next.
Kentimata.
What about it?
I was under the impression before that the gorgon always went with the. I mean, like, is written by the Kentimata. But
When you- if you
it's
s-
not.
No, it always.
It goes with it. It's just not written by it.
Yep. Yeah. Exactly. If you expand it and write it out in long fashion, then you always put it there. But
You mean like.
if I were to take these apart
Right,
instead of
right.
putting them on top of each
So
other.
it would go that Kentimata and then the
The Kanimata would always get the gorgon.
gorgon would go over the Kentimata if you wrote it. Okay.
Yep. Okay, so before we go to the music, there's another thing to learn. Does that answer your? Is that good? So the other thing is we had our Iparoi, this little guy before. And we saw him where we had an aptly beneath him and he means downwind downwind. To get, as just a continuous progression.
And that's
So-
la la,
And
la
so
la.
yeah, so if it was if this is bu here. La la, just straight down.
Okay, so it's all one syllable,
Right.
not la la la.
Right, just straight through,
Okay.
because we can't put a syllable on this guy because we don't know where it would go. So now, I had mentioned before that if we put a dot underneath it, it applies to the second one. If we put something on top, it applies to the first one. In this case, we can put a gorgon on top. So now it applies to the first of the two. Okay. So in this case, like if it's 1, 2, la, or la, sorry. So 1 and 2. So that gorgon applies to the first. If the gorgon's on the bottom, it applies to the second. You don't see that very often, but it is a thing. At least as far as I know.
You said there's 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm. La la.
So the gorgon applies to only the first
Mm-hmm.
note.
But then he
And-
And the E song.
Okay, that's
The
what I
one
thought.
before.
That's what I
Yeah,
thought.
so only the first note of this combo, but to the one before it, whatever comes before it.
That's the same as what we learned before.
I think they use it when they're pressed for space.
Yep. And then what the other thing, just to add complications to this, you can also put a dot beneath it. So now the dot.
Well, that just lengthens that, yeah.
Yeah. So. Yeah, so then it makes the second one 2 beats, and the first one would be 1/2. So
Mhm.
is that okay for the moment? So let's sing some music with it. All right, so 66, and then and then at the bottom of that you can see that where they kind of explode the symbols, just expand upon them. So 66, that'll be our knee. Let's do it on la, 3, 4. La 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 Do it again, or how's that feel?
Yeah, I can do it one more time.
Okay,
I
hold
didn't
on.
have a good start.
So with the first, so we're taking off a half a beat. We're not taking off a half a beat in this first one.
Of the first, the E song?
Bottom.
Yep. So it's 1, 2, and 3, 4.
4.
Yeah, 4. Yeah.
Okay, so I for some reason thought we were only taking half off the second half of that.
We should just do it again.
Well, I know what we're doing. I'm trying to understand.
So the E song is 1 beat. Then that combo symbol, the up 1, is a half a beat, a half a beat. And then the apostrophos, the last symbol there, with the klasma on top, he's 2 beats.
Well, I know that. It's like I know what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So I know what we're doing.
Oh, okay.
For some reason I understood it differently when you were explaining it.
Okay. Let's sing it through one more time, and then if we need to, I can put it on the board and kind of expand it. So 66. If this clarifies, let me know. If it doesn't clarify, then we'll.
I probably should just write it down because I didn't write it down.
Okay. So that's our knee. 3, 4. La 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 Do you want me to write anything, Doris? Or?
So you have it on the bottom here.
Mm-hmm.
Those are both the symbols that we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
But they're not. I need to just write down what they mean exactly. So this is so this becomes a half and a half.
Mm-hmm.
And then this is 1 and then a half and a half.
Which I.
No,
it's 1 half, 1 half, 1.
What?
1 half.
This is a half?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Mm-hmm. Takes off a half a beat from the one it sits on and the one before it.
I knew that.
Alright, so 67. This is kind of the same exercise, except slightly different. So that'll be our knee. 3, 4. La 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 la. Whenever you're ready. La 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 la. Any thoughts or questions there?
Well, the notation's something new where they've stacked
Yeah.
an Oligon and an Eson on top of it with
So the Oligon doesn't mean
Kentatar
anything, it just ties them together,
and the
right?
Gorgon.
Yeah, the Oligon doesn't mean anything there. he
Yay.
just, yeah, so this means the same thing as this. It just means that now they're kind of tied together and they have a syllable. So you just read, he's inactive on the bottom, he's just a bar. These two do matter. Instead, if you have the Gorgon on top, 1/2, 1/2.
You can make all sorts of bar jokes with Byzantine chant.
Exactly. So is that clear for you guys?
Clear as mud. I was looking on the cheat sheet for a hyphen. Do we usually use a hyphen instead of an Oligon? I'm just like thinking about this.
Oh, that's a different symbol actually. We'll get to him shortly. So he's more an articulation
How do
symbol.
you know who's a he and a she?
It depends. One of my friends always called them little guys. So I guess they made a decision at some point like this little guy means this.
Okay.
Yeah.
As opposed to this little piggy.
Yeah, exactly. So 67. Does that should we move on or do you want to do it again?
Do it again.
Okay.
I think I learned better just by
Just doing it again.
seeing it, doing it, and the theory. The theory does. It's too late in the Monday night to think about theory.
So 67. 3, 4. La 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 Yep. How's that feel?
Triumphant.
Alright, nice. So 68. This is double meter now. So 1, 2, la 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 like you can, besides it being repetitive, you can also notice little patterns. So if you see a certain pattern, you might just know it means la, as opposed to thinking something about it. You can start to just pick out a pattern in the future
I
and
like
just say,
repetition. That's
yeah.
how I learn my times table.
yeah. So
Which I've since forgotten some of.
so 69. This one is just, we already kind of talked about this before, where it's 1.5 and then a half if you have a chiasm on top. It doesn't cut the symbol in half, it takes a half a beat away. So 1.5 followed by 1/2.
Rhythmical schema.
Yeah.
What is the Greek word above it?
Rhythmic exercise?
Oh.
Scheme. Rhythmic scheme.
Yeah. So
Rhyme scheme.
so 69. 1, 2, la 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 la. How's that? Do it again?
One more time.
I didn't
Okay.
get that very well.
Okay, 69. 1, 2, la 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 la. Better?
Better.
Candace? Do you agree with it? Okay.
One more time. One more time.
That's alright.
Let's do 70 and see if that helps. Because it's the same type of thing, but a little bit different. So 70. 1, 2, la 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 la.
What? Ain't supposed to go up on the last one?
Yep.
Oh, that's what we did.
Because we went down
Oh,
again
okay.
and then
Ligavu panizoni.
Oh, okay, I didn't realize.
yeah, I don't think that helps.
So,
I thought we
zoni.
stayed the same. I was like, no, I guess we did go up. Okay.
Yep, yep, yep. So I keep moving on or do it again? 71.
71.
Okay, so what happens here? Anyone want to tell me or do you want me to tell you?
Up to.
Up to. Okay. So stay the same. Up to, stay the same. Up 1, up 1. After that, what is it?
Down 2.
Down 2. Yep. And down 1. Stay the same. Down 1. Stay the same. Down 1. Up 1. Down 2. And then we end on knee. Starting on knee, ending on knee, as is our tradition. And then we have the rhythm. Do you want me to go over the rhythm, or do you want to just sing it?
That's 1, 2, and 1, 2.
Yep.
Wait.
Yep.
1, 2, and 1, 2. 1, 2, and yeah.
Mm-hmm.
1, 2.
Yep.
Is that a dot?
That's just a
Okay.
random dot. Yeah, that's just
That
a.
doesn't look like it's
You can mark that off.
important.
That's just from a scan.
Didn't bring my white out with me.
Yeah. So that'll be our knee.
Where are you?
71. Knee.
No, I just didn't quite get the note.
Yeah. Knee.
It sounded like it was. Oh, that's because you're vibrato.
Why I
Which
picked
one
it?
is it?
I picked a different note initially. I was like knee.
Oh, that's what it was. I was like, wait a minute.
Yep.
what?
No, I was like
There we
knee.
go.
Well, that's kind of low. So knee. I had a friend. We were doing a concert in Pittsburgh. It's our Christmas CD has this on there, and I left it on there because there was no way to take it out.
Oh.
Very well. and he was upset, but it was kind of funny because it proves that sometimes you pick a note and you're like, nope, don't want that note. So he was like, anane, anane. He just picked a different note. So he just went up. So it's on the CD. It's it's a live CD, so there's things in it. So
it's much easier to do that with the Byzantine notation than it is to change a key signature.
Yeah, especially if you have 4 people to like da da da. Sorry, da da da, and everybody following with you.
Yeah.
So 71. That'll be our knee. 1, 2, la la la. Let's do it one more time and I'll do it a little slower because it goes kind of fast. So 1, 2, la 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 How's that? Getting jumps bringing in here a little bit. So we don't have to concern ourselves with the jumps too much because it's mostly rhythm that we're dealing with right now. But 72. So this is the same thing that I talked about on the board. Just the same rhythmic progression, except now that we have the upli beneath the iperoi, the upli beneath that little.
That means just add another beat.
Yep. So the second one gets another beat. So the first one, just to let you know, of 72 would go la la la.
These are getting fun.
Yep. So now if you can see, now we're getting real melody lines and things. So 72. 1, 2, 3, 4. La 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 la
And then going down line.
Where are you?
At the beginning.
Yeah. Oh, that's the Isan and the Iparoi. Yep.
No, the Isan and the Kentimata. Not the Iparoi.
Okay. Do you want to
So
point
the
me?
second measure.
Oh, okay. The Oligon with the.
Oligon with the Kentimata, and then you go down one.
Yep.
Are we supposed to slow her down? Do you want to go down?
It's not specified here.
Okay.
So I was switching back.
It.
I did it both ways. Yeah, so la
and I was like,
la la la.
Okay.
Yeah, there. If we had words, then you'd know more what to
Right.
do. So in that case, you just know la, and then what do you do after that? It could be la la or la la la. Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Charles.
So 73 or 72?
What, on the what's it called? Apple Ruby.
Yep.
What's the little dot beneath it again?
Up a leaf?
Extend.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, he adds
Draw
one
it
beat.
out.
Oh.
That's one beat to the last set.
Mm-hmm. So just hold it up.
Same as a dotted note.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and I was about to say real music.
Yeah.
Italians, the Greeks and Romans are still going at it.
No,
This
it's
is
real.
real, though.
This is real.
The other stuff's made up.
Yep. Well, if you look at the bottom of this one, actually, in the bottom of this page, you got a dotted note, a dotted quarter note with an eighth note right after it. The bottom of that page.
Sure enough.
Yep.
I hadn't read that far down.
Yeah. So keep going, or do 72 again.
Let's do it one more time. I like
Okay.
repetition.
And it sounded good to me. So 1, 2, 3, 4. It sounded good in general. Any thoughts? Number 73.
An apostrophe is always a separate note, right? Or is it possible to slide into apostrophe?
Oh, it's possible to slide.
Okay.
Normally it's written in a certain way, and we haven't learned that yet. So normally you would know when to specifically slide into it. But yeah, you can slide into it.
Okay, because I was singing la la every time I saw it. I said la no.
That's okay. I mean, that
I'm
works.
like I was
doing
the only
it
one
the
doing
way it's written so that I learn it properly.
La,
Well, as
la,
G.K.
la,
Chesterton
la.
said, if anything's worth doing, it's worth doing badly the first few times.
So 73.
I don't know if I agree with that statement.
Yeah, nobody's going to be perfect on the first go round. Well,
So,
not me.
sometimes
Not me either.
with my my research interns or various people like that have never done research before, that's the first thing that they have to learn is like, you expected it to go well first. You expected to get the right answer, which oftentimes the assumption is that everything just should work out perfectly, and it's like nope.
Who told you life was going to be easy?
Yeah, exactly. So 73. The only thing that it introduces here is that you. So I'll write this on the board real quick. So another thing. So if we have a symbol, so here we have an apostrophe. You have a guy. He means down one, right?
Right.
And then we put a dot underneath him. So now he's got enough leaves. So now he's 2 beats. And we put, let's say we put an Isan before him. So this is 1 beat. This is 2 beats. Now we put a gorgon on top. So this guy, which used to be 2 beats, gets a half a beat taken away. So now he's 1.5 beats. And then this guy gets a half a beat taken away, so he's 1/2. So this is da da. Kind of a syncopation in your music. So 1 and 2. So that's pretty much what this is gonna work on is da dun da 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 da. That type of rhythm. Dun dun doo. And you can tell that I've read these before because I knew without looking what the melody was. Watch out for your pretesti. This he comes in, and it's just da da, that quick rhythm in the beginning. So 73. I need.
Hold on a second.
Okay.
This is the patasi, is the
Well,
No. Yep.
right. I'm
Yep,
just
that's the
making
patasi.
sure, so I'm just thinking ahead. So
don't worry, we'll go through it 3 or 4 times.
just want to make sure I know what I'm doing before I get there. So it's a half a beat flutter.
It's a full. No, just one beat.
Da, da, da.
Oh, sorry. That one.
No,
that one
not.
has the gorgon after it. Yeah, I wasn't looking at the music. No. Yeah. So this one da 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 da
Da, 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 right?
da
Da,
da da. If you have time, otherwise it's just da da.
Okay, because it goes down. Hold on, what am I doing? 1.5. Oh, okay, got it. So this is, okay, so that's just, so you just hold it for 1.5 beats.
Mhm.
See, it takes me a minute to kind of get what I'm looking at.
I like it. I like it.
Capiche?
Mhm. Sounds good. Is that good? Mhm.
Okay.
All right. So 73. 1, 2, la 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 la. So all those are connected there. La 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 la. We'll do that a little bit slower.
So, do you ever sight read stuff like this?
Yes.
Aren't you just so good?
No.
Years of practice.
Yeah. I mean, if the last group, they were getting a little bogged down because there's a lot of rhythm in what we were reading, and so there's, if you look at this, there's all sorts of stuff all over the place. So you'll get there. It'll become second nature.
I'm sure. I'm just.
So let's do 73 slower, unless there's any specific questions about any part of it. So, 73, la 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 Let's read the last, after the vu in the middle of the last line.
Yeah.
Da 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 da. So a little slower there. So 1, 2, la 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 la. And sometimes what you'll see in some of these Byzantine manuals, there's a little diagram, because a lot of times at the chanter stand to reproduce the rhythm, you have someone who is hitting the table with their finger just down, up, and that's 1 and 2 and 3, depending upon what you're singing. So with this, you could go da da da, 1 up, down, up, round. So if that helps out, to give like a physical thing to associate it with. 73 again, or move on?
Let's try 74. It's a Christmas piece.
Ah, yes. So this one, yeah, has nothing new. It just has some jumps. So
it's 4 up 4.
Up 4 on the first.
Up 4. Yep. So what is our first note? If this is our note, up 4. Mm-hmm.
Hey, I wasn't done yet.
Well, you both saw the
Delayed. Delayed.
All right, one more time.
We start on V?
Yep, we start on V.
Okay.
So 1, 2, 3, 4. So 3, 4. La 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 rest. La 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 rest.
That's a German Christmas song.
A what?
German.
Is it?
Vorderflügel. Vorderflügel.
What does it mean? What does it mean?
What does it mean?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm really bad at German translation.
But do you understand it in German?
Vorderflügel oder Gnade. In der Weihnachtszeit. That's all I remember.
I know this says like
something joy.
most holy gift.
What does Gnade mean anyway?
I think it's either mercy.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
I'll try and
One of
Grace
those,
or mercy
virtues.
I'll try and translate this soon and figure out what it actually is.
That wasn't my daily conversation.
Yeah, Iperagia d'oro.
Fora Christugena.
Yeah, so most holy gift, something of Christmas. Of Christ's birth.
Christ's birth.
Yep.
The
The
translation
Christ is born
Yep.
Very is to be joyful.
Okay.
Happy
Yeah, I'll look. Okay, so do that again or move to 65 or 75.
75 is fine with me.
All right.
See, I know 74. Like I know the song.
Oh, okay. Is it helpful to actually look at it in Byzantine notation then?
It helps me to understand the Byzantine notation though.
Yeah. Okay, 75.
It helps me to learn it, I guess.
This is dipli.
Play.
Yep. So the first one is 2.5 because with the dipli it makes it 3, but the gorgon takes off a half a beat. So 75. 1, 2, 3. La la. Sorry. What? 1, 2, 3. La 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 la. All right. So I don't find that one tremendously helpful, but
Like hiding behind your hair.
let's do 76. 1, 2, 3. La 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 la. Alright, so 77, I'm not going to do because we're just holding it for more. You can do that at home if you so desire. But it's just 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1. So that's just a lot of holding. 78 introduces a new guy, and this is kind of where we'll stop for the day. And this will introduce enough for reading that Lord I've Cried thing that I handed out last week. So this guy is called, in Greek, Syneches Elafron, which all it means is continuing Elafron, or joining Elafron, or adjoining Elafron, or something like that. So what he does is he's a connector. He likes to connect other notes together. So if I have this, that's our Elafron, and he means down 2. If I have this, and let's say we start on the, you know. So this is vivo. So we're good to go there. So what people ended up doing was, at certain times, they didn't like to just jump down. They started adding little notes in the middle. So instead of it being vivo, they went vivo, this little connector. So eventually this got so well documented, everyone was doing this, so then they wanted to do it together. So they would write like a little helper symbol. Vivo, just to let you know, we're going to connect them. Just go down in the middle. And so we're still going to jump down 2, but we're going to slur them together. Or at least connect them somehow. So eventually this little guy got bigger and bigger.
That makes more sense now.
And then you have that.
That way.
So vivo, it still jumps down 2, but now we have a little connector. So this is our continuing Elafron because it continues from the previous note. It's an adjoiner, it joins them together.
When you explain the history, like I totally get it.
Okay.
When I'm sitting here, like even before class today, I'm like looking at that, I'm like trying to figure it out, I'm trying to figure it out. I didn't really get it.
Yeah.
Until you explained it that way.
Okay.
And I'm like, oh well, that's easy.
Yeah, so when you see this, vivo, digavo. So, the only difference, so if you notice, this one means the same thing, means this, right? Which I think it says in one of the things. We saw something similar in this, right? That means the same thing.
So that's just putting them together.
Ligavo. The only difference is that this has a little pedestal here. You can put a little word there. This one does not. So this is la, all the way through and through. This guy is la la.
Okay.
So is that so 2 different functionalities.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So but it essentially has the same function as an elaphrod. La la, it just connected. So, let's do that one exercise with it, and then we'll look maybe very briefly at that third mode. What I've tried, just so you can get a leg up on it. So this one would be 78 would be ni pa vu pa ni pa vu ga vu pa. So essentially the same. And if you notice here, there's a little more space between some of these. They should really be touching, but that's just how they were writing it there. So in general, they would actually be connected. So that's just kind of not a misprint. It was just whatever they were using to stamp it out at the time.
Connecting them.
Mm-hmm. So when I retype it, they'll all be connected. So 78. 1, 2, la 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 Cool. Any questions on that one? Alright, so that sounded pretty good to me. So that's a good place to stop. If you have the Lord I've Cried that I handed out last week, I just want to look at that real quick. So, let's see, I should have it on here somewhere. So essentially, let me bring it up on here. Just a few things, if you ever look at it, just what to pay attention. And we'll start singing this soon, but not this week. So if you look at the beginning, it says third mode, so we're in the third mode as opposed to the first or second. This is brief because you have very few syllables, or very few symbols per syllable. So instead of it being, Lord, I have, it's, Lord, I have cried unto thee. So much more, everything is, one syllable at a time, maybe two syllables per, or two symbols per syllable. But most of the time you just have a very few number of symbols per syllable. So very brief. The thing, this says, Lord, I've cried. Then it says in Greek, ichos, right underneath, Lord, I've cried. And then it has a bunch of symbols, and then it says ga. So that tells you what your starting note is. And right on top of ga, it just tells you something about what scale you're singing in. We're only singing in diatonic, so that's good to go. We're saying this happens to be in the diatonic scale. So this would be from ga. So instead of ni, it's ni pa vu ga. Ga di ke di ga vu ga.
Huh?
That's just the just your where you are. So ga.
So we're starting on ga? What is the N?
That's the Isan. Your drone part. So if you were singing.
Oh, there's ga. Right.
Yeah. If you were singing another part, yeah, the Isan part.
What is this symbol? The third symbol?
Pa.
That's pa.
Yep. Yep.
I'm sorry, they look different.
Yeah, ni ga pa.
Ni ga pa. Ni ga pa.
Ni ga pa ni. So, as you're looking through, essentially you know everything now, except for like some of the little symbols that might be in gray on your paper. You can kind of ignore them, and little by little you can kind of work your way through. We'll look through it, but just to give you a little, I'll sing the first two phrases. Lord, I have cried unto thee, hearken unto me, O Lord. So just to let you kind of read along, it'd be na Lord, I have cried unto thee, hearken unto me, hearken unto me, O Lord. So that's just a little, Lord, I have cried unto thee, hearken unto me. Do you want to keep going, or? Turn to the voice of my supplication when I cry unto thee. Hearken unto me, O Lord.
That's just a breath mark there, right?
At the end? Or right before O?
Right before the O.
That's a stress.
Oh.
Oh, Lord.
Wait, where'd you go up?
Oh, Lord. Yeah. That's just, so if I were to actually read this, it'd be, Lord, I have cried unto thee, hearken unto me, O Lord. Lord, I have cried unto thee, hearken unto me. Attend to the voice of my supplication. When I cry unto thee, hearken unto me, O Lord.
I can see how you can do that quickly. I mean, I can start to see that, how
He
just
practiced a lot, memorized it.
No,
Yep.
I'm saying that I can see how, like, if I did it a few times, then I could do it.
Yeah. So.
I'm starting to pick it up a little bit.
And you know everything, essentially.
Oh, I know everything.
In this.
No, that's a frightening thought, isn't it?
So essentially, like, we're gonna still go through some exercises, and we're gonna
Okay.
introduce flats and sharps and things like that.
No.
But now we can start to read music. There's a few things here and there that you probably might not know, but in general, you're gotten everything under your belt. So just a few lessons down, we've got it all covered. So.
Wunderbar.
Yeah.
That means we're done. That's the last class.
No. This will continue.
Then you move up to the earlier class.
Yeah.
My short-term career goal. You can get it over with soon.
So, any questions before we? Cool. Oh, sure. Yeah.